And more news coming in, viewers, we are being told that there is a seeming split that is emerging within the Shinde camp as well. Now, why this is happening is because, of course, pressure tactics are being employed by the Uddhav faction. Let me bring in Radhika. Radhika, that is exactly what Shinde has been fearing. That is exactly why he's been holding back-to-back meetings. The Shinde camp has made it very clear that there is no going back to any other party, no joining hands with the BJP, that this is the real Shiv Sena. But take us through the cracks that are emerging from within.
Yes, absolutely. I'm standing at the same spot where Shivani is also reporting from. This is outside Sena Bhavan. As you mentioned, yes, Eknath Shinde camp making it very clear that the identity of Sena in fact belongs to them. That's the kind of reaction, that's the kind of responses we've been hearing from Shinde camp over the last many days. Let me try and get a reaction on that statement of Eknath Shinde from these Sainiks here. Madam, one second. मैडम आप ये बताइए, शिंदे कैंप ने बोला कि सेना उनका है, हाँ, लेकिन उद्धव साहब का है सेना, लेकिन शिंदे साहब बार बार ये दोहरा रहे हैं कि सेना उनका है और सेना का आइडेंटिटी उनके है करके, क्योंकि उनके पास नंबर्स है।
आइडेंटिटी क्या देंगे वो? उनके पापा खुद इसके फाउंडर है, उन्होंने किया, उनका उद्धव साहब बाला साहब ने ये फाउंडर खड़ा किया। फाउंडर के पीछे कौन है? उनके बेटे हैं। तो उनका घरानेशाही होती है, वो उनका है ही। वो कैसे बोल सकते हैं कि हमारे उनके पापा ने तय किया है कि शिवसेना उनका है करके? नहीं ना, शिवसेना का ही रहेगा, ये उद्धव साहब का ही रहेगा, ये बाला साहब ठाकरे का ही रहेगा।
लेकिन नंबर्स तो उनके पास है। अब इतने सारे MLAs उनके पास गए, इतने सारे ऑफिस बेरर्स, MPs, काउंसलर्स सब उनके सपोर्ट में जा रहे हैं एकनाथ शिंदे के, तो उसके बारे में क्या बोल?
सिद्ध हुआ नहीं है ना, बहुमत जब सिद्ध होगा तभी हो जाएंगे
ना। बम्बई में क्या
उनको लग रहा है कि ये गवर्नमेंट टूटेगा नहीं? आपको
टूटेगा नहीं? टूटेगा
क्यों लग रहा है?
भविया हमारी आघाड़ी एक साथ है
तो फिर पता चलेगा कौन कितने। उन लोग को छुपा के रखा है, सामने खड़ा नहीं किया है, छुपा के रखा है। सामने अगर महाराष्ट्र में आके बात करेंगे ना, तभी उनको पता चलेगा कौन उनके साथ है और कौन उनके साथ नहीं है।
अगर उनमें है तो फिर से
लड़के दिखाए, सबको राजीनामा देके बोलो, सिर्फ से खड़े रहे, फिर उन लोग को पता चलेगा।
So an open threat, an open challenge to these to these.
Yes, absolutely. So these Shiv Sainiks who have been protesting outside the Sena Bhavan of the opinion that there is no returning from this path that these rebel MLAs have chosen. If we talk about what's happening and the kind of vandalism and arson that is being witnessed on the streets across Maharashtra, now these Shiv Sena supporters, the Uddhav camp supporters, have taken to streets to protest in another manner. What they've done is that they've taken out a symbolic funeral procession of Eknath Shinde in Nashik. So that's another visual, a very dramatic visual that came in a while ago of how this kind of a symbolic protest is now being staged by some of these supporters. Arunil continues to stay on with us. Arunil, up until now, it was limited to throwing slippers, blackening faces of some of these rebel MLAs, including Eknath Shinde, vandalizing their offices, but now carrying out a symbolic protest, a funeral procession at that as well?
Well, clearly it is a matter of perception now, and all kinds of threatening tactics have been employed by the Shiv Sainis, basically from the CM Uddhav Thackeray camp. Yes, as you rightly pointed out, first the pictures were blackened, and then their pictures were burned, then the effigies were burned, and now funeral procession being carried out. This visual coming in from Nashik, offices being vehemently attacked by the Shiv Sainiks. This is a clear-cut message that the Shiv Sena High Command from the CM Uddhav Thackeray camp wants to give out to these rebel MLAs. One thing that I would like to point out, Christine, is that these rebel MLAs are operating from Guwahati. Shiv Sena under CM Uddhav Thackeray is operating from the ground in the state of Maharashtra. At least on the ground, they are in an advantageous position, one can say. With respect to numbers, there is no doubt that Eknath Shinde has those numbers. But whether Eknath Shinde is confident about the MLAs that are there with him, that is the question, that is the hope that lies with the CM Uddhav Thackeray camp. And that is why there are many reports of a rift happening. There is reports of a split that is taking place. What kind of a decision that Eknath Shinde will take? Eknath Shinde certainly had a meeting, one-on-one meeting with all his MLAs to ensure that none of them makes a U-turn. They are ready for the big legal battle. They are ready for the fight on the road as well. Many of his MLAs have counter-tweeted to the attacks that have taken place on their offices, saying that once we are back, we will give an appropriate answer to these attacks on our offices. Their supporters have also gone to these offices and done Shuddhikaran after the attacks had taken place. So a very straight divide has taken place within the Shiv Sena ranks. Now the main ploy and the strategy from CM Uddhav Thackera's Shiv Sena is that all these leaders, Aditya Thackeray, Sanjay Raut, and many of these leaders are particularly going to different constituencies. They are meeting the main grassroots workers of the Shiv Sena to ensure that the grassroots workers and the vote bank of the Shiv Sena at least stays with them, and only the MLAs are alienated as much as possible. That is the strategy from CM Uddhav Thackeray's Shiv Sena, and that is why a series of meetings have been taken.
Tactics also now being deployed by these Uddhav camp supporters. These are grassroots supporters who we've seen take to streets since the last 2 to 3 days. They've been raising their voices outside the Sena Bhavan as well.